You gained a level and now it's time to get more hit points, right? Right? Hey Fringers, it's Mallo. Thanks for coming back to another video. One of the questions we receive a lot about the game is what makes IDENTECO different than other modern role-playing games out there? What makes it stand out in a world where there are so many good cyberpunk games? One of those answers is always our ID point system, and the concept that you can use your experience in-game as a form of social currency. But one of the other major aspects of the game we've included is a static hit point ceiling, and it's affected by your stamina. Stamina represents your character's body constitution, how much it can stand up to the elements, and how resilient your character is to poison and radiation effects, and in many cases, how hard you are to kill. What do we mean by this? Human characters who have a 13 or 14 for stamina, in other words, an average ability score, are capped at 25 hit points for their character. As you gain levels, you don't receive additional hit points. Why? Well, because people don't really get better at getting shot or hit as they get older. If your character's level represents an amount of time that has passed within the game, our human meat bodies actually get frailer and more brittle as we get older, at least without some form of augmentation. And we'll get into that a little bit. When we envisioned the game, we wanted to make combat fast-paced and deadly. We wanted combat to have consequences. In other words, we want you to think twice about whipping out your chrome and starting something in the streets. A standard human character will have 25 hit points in each of their body parts, from their head to their legs. And that's it. But that's not all bad. We've included damage mitigation in the form of body armor, helmets, special suits, and good old cybernetic replacements. Now, I said an average human character gets 25 hit points to start the game, but what if they have a higher or lower stamina? This is where the points scale in the game. For every ability point above the average, the character gains 5 hit points. This means if you have a +1 to your stamina, you would get 30 hit points to each location on the body. If you have a +2, then you would get 35 hit points to each location. Because we also include a condition track for each location on your character, hit points must always be divisible by 5. That means if you have 30 hit points, each box in the condition track is now 6 hit points instead of 5. If you have 35 hit points, each box is now 7, and so on. You get the idea. It gives you more of a chance to survive bigger hits before you must take a penalty to your rolls for being hurt. Hit points scale up to the current maximum of +4 you can either roll or put points into at the start of the game. But what happens if you have a minus in your stamina? If you have a -1 in your stamina, then your character would only have 20 hit points in each location on the body. -2, yep, you probably guessed it, they'd have a measly 15 hit points per location. Your character might not have a lot of stamina, but you can choose to put those points in agility because your character is smaller and lighter on their feet. That's another way to mitigate damage, by being so fast and nimble that other characters can't hit you. However you want to play, there are a lot of options during character creation to build the kind of character you envision in your head. Now, when I said earlier there was no way to get better at taking hits the older or more experienced you get, that was only partially true. If you use ID points or you choose to increase your ability score through gaining levels, you can actually gain hit points. This kind of increase represents skill training, bio-enhancement, or some other form of augmentation that you and your game runner can tell through story. Even if your character is smaller and lighter on their feet, they can train more in, say, martial arts, for example, or gain muscle mass to be able to take more hits and stay in the fight. But again, this comes at the expense of additional skills or talents your character could take. It's all about choice and what kind of identity your character has in the world. Finally, there are good old cybernetics, which can bring their own hit point values above what a standard human limb can withstand. Cybernetics, like replacement legs and arms, don't come with additional hit points at their base level, but adding armored substrate to any replacement limb increases the amount of armor anywhere from a +1d4 to a +1d20, depending on the category of armor you purchase. And that armor stacks with body armor, special suits, and the like. Unlike hit points though, armor doesn't have to be divisible by 5. It's straight damage your character can absorb before they take the damage to their hit points. It's important to add armor when you're replacing limbs, as that armor can be repaired and keeps your cybernetics from being completely destroyed and needing to be replaced. For those characters who want to keep most of their meat body, there's armor weave, an expensive and often painful procedure that adds a fine metallic weave just under the skin and adds 20 armor points to each body part. And unlike cybernetic limb replacements, it can be installed on the body and head areas of your character. Finding this on the black market in cities requires a decent underground check, but most cities have at least one back alley cyberdoc willing to help you out. And that's everything on gaining levels and hit points. If you like this series and want more information about the game, go over to www.playidenteco.com and check out our core rulebook. It's available in hardcover and digital PDF. And if this is your first time here, drop me a note in the comments below and consider subscribing to the channel for more how-to videos and tips for being a game runner. And don't miss our actual plays, both here on YouTube and live every Tuesday on twitch.tv/Identico. Every bit of engagement you give us helps more Fringers find the channel and the game. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.